Welcome to Footy Kickin Good. I'm Jamie Moraes here with my two favourite people in the world, Michael Flynn, Mikhail Quinless. How you boys going?
Can we say the same about
people? That caught me off guard. I did not expect that.
You're definitely in the top 100.
MySpace top 10 list.
Oh.
No, we're going all right. Another loss for my boys, but
Yeah. Look, last time we filmed, it was straight after the Easter Monday clash, and you were, gracefully brought up the Hawks losing. So I've got to bring our attention to Saturday night. The Pies and the Cats, possibly.
Saturday night, Melbourne West Coast game.
even I turned that game on.
Yeah.
Pies and Geelong, possibly. I mean, a contender for game of the year so far, at least.
Not in my mind.
No, not in your mind.
Has to be the game of the year so far.
Well, let's run through a couple of little incidents, and I want to hear your opinion, especially yours, Flynn.
I think people already know.
The goal review, the one with Lockie, I think Lockie Schultz kicked the goal. Yeah. What do you guys think about that in terms of it? I think the call was touched, and it was inconclusive, so they kind of.
You're actually touching on my bake for later in the podcast. To speak about it more generally, I think the soft call stuff is garbage.
Yeah,
it's similar to what happens in cricket.
Yeah.
With the DRS reviews,
You can't have it.
I don't like the soft calls when they actually don't know.
Yeah.
Because it just has too much of a bearing. Because the video is never conclusive, and so in my opinion, I think the onus is on the player conclusively touching the ball, like the vision showing them actually touching it.
Yeah.
You can't show footage where there's no footage where it looks like it hits his hand.
Yeah.
And then stick with the touch call.
The other thing is, it's like we haven't got the camera technology or
it's not good enough.
Anything high def enough to know, and all the calls or all the reviews seem to be like touching. Whether the fingers flick back or not, you can barely tell.
Part of the problem as well is this was originally brought in to catch howlers where it was like it hit the goalpost and the umpire missed it.
Yeah.
This wasn't even touched on the line. It was like. They're looking at it for a touch, a couple meters forward of the line. Like, that's not what it's there for,
Yeah. No, I agree. Moving on, the Bobby Hill rundown tackle. Thoughts on it? Actually, let's throw it to Mick first. Yeah.
As a neutral fan, I thought watching it live, I was like, that's just one Collingwood the game. That's like a game changer. And I was actually like waiting to see all the Pies players run to the right of the screen, and obviously.
Well, if you notice, all the Geelong players start running the other way first because they think it's Bobby Hill's free kick.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like when all players and stuff kind of know it's like holding the ball. You should be holding the ball, but a letter of the law. I don't know, like what the rule is. Like if it starts up and then kind of slides down.
Well,
like what?
That's what the commentators were trying to say. Like if it starts up and slides down, it's fine. But if you start it, apparently, it's supposed to be between the knees and the shoulders.
So
that's my belief.
If you watch freeze, frames, which obviously the umpires don't get to look at it like that. So you got to cut him a little bit of slack, but it definitely starts legally.
Yeah,
he tackles him in the quads.
Yeah.
We did see Sicily get a free kick for tackling Maurice Rioli Jr. today that was almost identical. So generally those, in my mind of watching random games, generally though you see those as holding the ball.
Yeah.
And it takes, the balls of an umpire to pay that at that point of the game in front of 82,000.
And the thing is, the AFL's got to back up the umpire because they've got they'll just say it's slid down, so they've made the right call.
Even watching the replay for me, that's a clean tackle. That's holding the ball for me. That's where I sat with it.
Yeah.
And Jack Crisp, obviously, games record holder now, or consecutive games record holder. Kick after siren. I mean, it was absolute fairy tale possibility of an ending. You know what I mean? You couldn't have written the script any better.
Do you think, after 245 games, he'll know how to kick it through the goals?
Just kick the man while he's down. No,
I did feel bad.
The thing is, Collingwood have had such luck with kicks after the siren. Over the last few years. We know McGovern kicked one out in the full against us last year. And so we're probably due. It was probably too big of a fairy tale for it to happen.
Do you guys, off the top of your head, do you guys know which team has played in the most games where there's been a kick after the siren?
No.
I'd say it'll be Collingwood.
It's actually Geelong. I think it's like 28, and I think it's not that close for second.
Yeah. No, well, look, part of it was 37 minutes that last quarter.
Yeah.
And you've got a bloke that's 30 or whatever he is having a shot from. He's got to. I mean, look, to clear the goal line, he's got to really kick at 55.
Yeah.
And I feel like he just was like thinking about making the distance.
He just knew, like, going in his head, like, all the storylines, the fairy tale and all that.
It's brutal, but it's props to Dangerfield.
Yeah,
because I saw that he got around crisp and.
Oh, did he?
So
I
thought you meant just his fourth quarter in general.
Look, props to him in general, but if you watch the footage when Chris missed the shot and all the Collingwood players, wrapped their arms around him, Dangerfield was the first player to give him a pat, and so good man, Danger.
I also thought it spoke volumes of the culture of Collingwood, because all the boys just straight up to him, and there was not like big disappointment or anything like that.
Look, the thing is, right, you kick the goal, it's an amazing thing. I don't think either Collingwood or Geelong would have lost, like, in terms of the stocks this year.
No way.
I think people are looking at that probably going, these are two of the better sides. Like, it's similar to Brisbane Gold Coast Q Clash.
I reckon also, like, Geelong played out of their skin to win that game as well. So, like you said, Collingwood won't be losing any admirers. Yeah.
No, I definitely agree. Craig McRae, after the in the coaches press conference, I thought he was so professional about it. Like, didn't even harp off the umpiring calls or anything like that. The way he conducts himself, it's just like everything about Collingwood that night was just so professional.
Yeah.
And I feel like it takes that kind of a structure in organisation to, like, be able to go and win flags, basically.
Yeah. So, like, when I look back on 2023 and 22, when we had a lot of those fairy tale wins where we came from behind and won by a point and all that, at the end of the day, you're just banking wins to qualify. So, it looked like we've seen Geelong over the last few years do it really well, where they're sort of just like, we don't have to win every single week. Yeah. Like, you just have to qualify. Yeah. And Brisbane last year. So, I think we've probably gotten lucky a couple of times. Bulldogs game, I think we were very lucky to get through the 4 points. So, swings and roundabouts, I still think the fact that Collingwood hasn't played any really, average bottom sides yet this year means they'll probably bank enough in the back half of the year and they'll still be in good stead.
Yeah, no, I think they're going to be a great side all year. Moving on, boys, what do we learn, like, this week, or what have we learned in general? I might kick things off for this one, and I don't know if this is it might be a little bit controversial.
Is this a whack or is it some praise?
It's a little bit neither.
Okay.
So it's a little bit left field. So my one is that I think the top 8 currently is locked.
Yeah.
I think teams will move in and out, but I think this is the top 8 we're going to end up with at the end of the year.
Do you think Sydney won't make it for me?
I don't think Sydney will make it. I think they'll fall short. I think a few teams will fall short. So I think
I agree with you.
Are Giants in it now?
The Giants are in it now. They're
so
in
the
8th.
teams that are out, I think, are Freo, Port, Carlton. So I agree with you on all of those.
Yep.
I think Sydney have the talent to go on a run.
Yep.
And they had a really good win against GWS. So they're probably the one for me, but I do tend to agree.
I think when I was doing my predictor, I think it was the main factor for those particular teams is all their percentage is really good.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to matter more than anything.
Yeah.
And everybody basically below the 8 has pretty horrible percentage as well.
Freo absolutely cooked their percentage the other night.
And the other thing is, I feel like you need to be playing like a top 4 side in order to make the 8 nowadays.
We've always said that.
Yeah, and I think the top 8, as it is now, are probably those teams.
Is it because it's similar to last year, and you were so spot on with that? With right now, Hawthorn's are they in the top 4? I think they're 4th, actually.
Yeah.
But right now, if you look at some of the teams like that are in the top 8, like they're like Geelong.
Yeah.
That's a genuine top 4 team and they're not top 4.
Yeah.
So it's like you've got to look like you're a chance of like being a top 4 side the whole year.
Yeah.
Because it used to be, the teams used to sort of sneak in, like an Essendon would sneak in.
We've always said that, and then they just get pumped the first week of the finals.
These days, the team, because it's such a deep comp,
Yeah.
these days, the team in 8th is generally a pretty good side.
And I honestly think when Tassie does come in, it's probably a segment for another episode, but I think we need to
top 10.
Need to extend the finals. I
Yeah.
think it'll be some kind of a top 10.
I'll take a long time before that ever happens. So
You think so? I think it'll be sooner than you think.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's too many teams that miss out and too many coaches getting sacked based on not making finals. So
Well, I mean, last year, Collingwood and Freo didn't make it.
Yeah.
And they were like, both of them were in the top 4 after the bye at some stage. And Essendon didn't make it, and they were top 2 at some stage in the season.
Yeah,
so
like Carlton, Essendon, and Collingwood, they
all in
were
the
like,
top 4 at one
could all
point.
play finals, all top 4.
Yeah.
And then,
yeah.
It's crazy how much can change in a season, but look, I'll hold me to it, and we'll see at the end of the year if the 8 changes or stays the same. I might throw over to you first, Mick.
What's a good segue for teams that can't make the finals?
What's that?
Well, I've got a surprise. I'm talking about Fremantle.
Oh, here we go. The West Coast man.
So I've gone a little praise for the Saints and obviously a massive whack for Fremantle. So I was watching it the game a little bit in the background, but from what I could see is Ross Lyon played a typical Ross Lyon game, just shut the game down, shut the main players down, and then pretty much just control the ball from there. And then from what I saw is you shut Brayshaw and Sarong down, the main in the midfield. Haven't got much, especially with Hayden Young going out injured as well.
Do you think we've overrated Freo's list?
No,
I think they've got a really good list. I just don't think they've got a good game style.
I agree with that, 100%.
But do you part of me, so going into the year, I was really big on a bunch of different guys at Freo. I'm starting to think they might not be as good a players as we thought they were.
Can I bring one thing to you guys' attention? I feel like Luke Beveridge was in the exact same position last year.
But the one thing I will say is Beveridge has always had a decent identity in terms of like the way his teams play. Yeah. Freo's is absolutely disgusting.
Yeah.
And the thing is, Freo have the gun players, and they got players up forward. They should be getting it in fast to like Tracy and Miss and all these players, but they just play so slow. I
do think, looking at Freo's list, the back line worries me. There seems to be a lot of really, I don't want to say no names, but like, you look at some of the guys that have been getting a game back there. I think Warner, Wagner, these types. Yeah. Chapman.
Draper.
Yeah, I don't know if that is going to be enough to really mix it with good forward lines.
I think statistically, they're all kind of backs who can get good numbers as well.
But not defend well.
Exactly, yeah. Not defend well.
And we saw like Cooper Sharman, no disrespect to him. Yeah. He looked like Wayne Carey out there. And
no disrespect to Sharman, he's actually looking like a phenomenal player. Like he's really coming into his own.
I think he'd be a really good second or third forward. Yeah, I'd really like to see what happens when Max King comes back, trying to balance it all. Yeah, but the one thing that Sharman's like, even before he was drafted, his whole highlight package was high marking. Yeah, he's not overly tall, but he's just such a good mark. Yeah, so I think they've got something there, St Kilda, to work on, and I think I'm sure in the preseason I gave a prediction about him. I'm sure I said something about him. Maybe on the St Kilda episode.
Did you say they were like the dark horse, or was that the year before?
No, but I don't remember. But I think in the preseason I said that he was the dark horse to win their goal kicking or something like that. I'll go back. I'm sure I gave him props.
Higgins has done really well.
He's doing well as well.
No, but Ross Lyon needs to be praised from all the injuries and everything they've had. To have him 4-4, it's decent.
And the other thing with the Saints is recently some journos have sort of been like, I think Damien Barrett was like, do we think that they're in a better spot now than they were in 2022? And all the St Kilda supporters I've seen are like, absolutely, we're heading in the right direction. Like, we have way more stability in our structure, and we can see where the improvement's coming from. Yeah, the young guys seem to have really picked up a lot of the slack this year. I think Windhager looks like he's back to being a good player.
You love you some Windhager. Yeah. All right, we'll move on to you, Flynn. What do you got for us?
I'm going to be positive. Which doesn't come very naturally to me. But I think that the Western Bulldogs are a genuine premiership contender. Yep. The start of this year, we were sort of worried about... some people tipped North to beat them, if you can believe that, in round one. But just based on the fact that the best player of all time was unavailable in Bontempelli.
That's actually insane. Like, their best player of all time is like, we're watching him.
Yeah.
I mean, look, there's Bulldogs fans that'll probably tell us that there's, there's other guys in history, but I think he's the GOAT. I think best and fairest wise, he's the most But I was critical of Luke Beveridge last year, but now I'm starting to see the vision. So I was critical of his team selection, but now that I'm seeing some of the names in the team doing well, I'm like, maybe he was right in developing some of these younger guys and not picking like McRae and Caleb Daniel and all this. So Ed Richards to the midfield has been one of the best moves within the AFL landscape. He's been one of the most outstanding players this year. Was clearly one of the best players on the ground over the weekend. Matthew Kennedy, second, like they've got him for basically not much at all.
Yeah, bag of peanuts.
He's been brilliant this year, absolutely brilliant. I think no one fits the Bulldogs ethos or mantra better than Lib is the one, but better than Matthew Kennedy as a guy coming across.
Yeah,
the guy just like eats concrete. Like he's just such a good player. James Harms, I thought his career was going nowhere. He's had a really, really good season as yesterday's flying for marks. I think it shows like a bit of faith from the coach can go a long way in a guy's career. And then obviously the youngster Joel Frazier, like that. It's just everything's working. Trelaw comes back in the team. Looks like he hasn't missed a game.
Yep.
Bontempelli comes back and is like literally like he's probably leading the Brownlow for the last 3 weeks. Like no one's polled more votes than he has since he's returned.
Yeah,
they've just they've just nailed it.
Just the fact that they didn't have Bontempelli for their first 5 weeks or something like that,
and they still managed to win games.
And Trelaw. And
Trelaw.
Joe Anderson was out for a while.
And they still
And
look
Jones.
phenomenal without Sam Darcy.
Exactly, yeah.
Norton, I was really big on Norton being poor this year.
He's stepped up a bit.
He's really stepped up since Darcy's gone out. I think his best seasons of football have been when he's been the main man.
Yeah.
And I think he likes being the main man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I think they're just a real smoky for the flag. Like probably no one's going to talk to them ahead of names of like Brisbane and Collingwood and possibly Hawthorn. But they've got all the potential, like the way they look.
And the thing is, they nearly beat Collingwood. They had a massive lead against Brisbane as well, and he blew that. So
yeah, no, I'm a big rap for him, and I think players like Bont and Libba are made for September.
Yeah,
I think if they can qualify in the top 4, look out.
Yeah, 100% agree. Look, boys, I think round 8, is that what we're up to now? We finished up round 8, yep. I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
So that's 0 and 8.
So we're roughly a third of the way through the season now. So I thought it'd be a good time to just kind of analyse the teams and where do we think they kind of sit in terms of the ladder kind of positions. And you probably get some idea of where I'm leaning because I've just told you I think the 8 is locked. But we're going to run through all 18 teams.
Why are we doing it then if the 8's
It's locked.
And you're gonna put them in one of 6 categories. So first one's minor premiers, whether they're a top 4 side, a side playing finals, outside the 8, bottom 3, and wooden spooners.
Jesus
Is it
Christ.
too
I don't
much?
even remember the categories.
I'll remind you as we
Can we
go
name
through.
multiple teams as minor premiers, or is it just, we just got to pick one?
You technically could because no one's keeping count. But
Right.
yeah,
Right.
but
I'm not saying multiple teams can be minor premiers. Just
all right, let's start with Adelaide. What do you boys think?
top 8.
Top 8.
Top 8? Yep, I'm top 8 as well.
Yep.
Brisbane Lions.
Top
Minor
4.
premiers.
Minor premiers, top 4.
Top 4.
I've got them top 4 as well. Carlton.
Missing finals.
Missing. I got them out of the 8. Collingwood.
I'm going to go minor premiers.
Minor premiers.
I got minor premiers on Collingwood as well. Essendon. Missing as well for me. Fremantle. Missing. Gold Coast.
Top 8.
Yep.
Playing finals.
Top 8 for me as well. GWS.
Finals.
Top 8.
Top 8. Yep. Any of these sides top 4 for you guys as well? Okay. Hawthorn.
Top 4.
Cool. I like what you guys are thinking.
Mate, we're in unison.
We're like those twins. And
All right. Melbourne Demons.
Missing.
But better than I thought they would be, though.
And remember, we got a bottom 3 category as well.
Yep.
North Melbourne.
Bottom 3.
Yep.
Bottom 3. Port Adelaide.
Missing.
Richmond.
Bottom 3.
Bottom 3.
Bottom 3. Wooden spooners.
Oh, actually, wooden spoon for Richmond.
bottom 3.
St Kilda.
I'm saying missing finals.
I'll say missing, but I think them and Sydney are the two that could sneak in.
Could sneak in.
Yeah.
All right. Sydney.
Yeah, missing, but
I'll say finals.
I'm going to say missing.
Yeah.
Yep. Western Bulldogs.
Top.
I'll just say
I
finals.
need to think. I'm going to say historically they generally finish like 5th or 6th, so I'm going to say top 8.
Yeah, Bevo never. I think Bevo's
They've
made
never
the
made
top 4.
top 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the West Coast Eagles.
The wooden spoon.
Get the wooden spoon.
out.
Bottom 3.
Ask me at the end of next week when they play Richmond.
Okay. We'll do that. We'll come. I mean, we'll try again in 8 rounds, and we'll see.
Did you say Geelong in that?
No, you didn't. I didn't
Did I miss Geelong? Did I?
And Port Adelaide.
Really?
Yeah, you didn't say.
All right. Well, Geelong
Top 4.
top 4, and Port Adelaide
Missing.
Yeah. Apologies there for
right.
Geelong and Port Adelaide fans.
Geelong fans are sitting there like, come on.
What do they think?
All right. Everybody's favourite segment, shake and bake, boys.
Yes.
So if you like something, give it a shake. If you don't like something, give it a bake. I'll throw it over to Mickey first, I think.
I'm going to give this a shake because I just like the banter between Bontempelli and
Bailey Smith.
Baz Lenker.
Yeah.
The whole saying, he doesn't get 80,000 fans down at Ballarat and all that. And Bontempelli returning serve.
What do you think's his problem? Like, why would you have to take that pot shot?
I think he's just
He's just a prick.
Yeah.
I like what he brings to the game.
Yeah.
But that was so unnecessary and so classless, in my opinion. Also, they ain't getting 80,000 without us, without a Collingwood home game.
That's a good point.
Don't be. Listen, when you go after Bontempelli, you're coming after the whole comp because
exactly right. He's like
everyone in the league has Bontempelli's back.
I think he posted on socials the fishing emoji as well.
And he checked in at the Salty Bulldog Cafe or whatever it is.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a bit.
But
I think it's a bit immature.
I like it because it builds it up.
They play in 3 weeks.
3 weeks?
Yeah.
That's going to be a good game in 3 weeks. How
Where's-
many fingers does the Western Bulldogs crowd cop from Bailey Smith?
Oh,
how many times?
How many does he cop from the crowd?
Where's that at GMHBA? Or
I'm not 100%.
No, I don't think so.
Oh, it might be actually.
Give us a shake and bake and I'll get back to you.
All right, shake and bake. All right, so I got a shake and a bake. So my shake's going to be Max Gorn.
I was going to say that.
Yeah, Max.
Mine's Max Corn as well.
I'll let you have it.
They play at GMHBA, by the way.
GMHBA.
That sucks.
Oh, okay. Look, I'll let you have that one, and I'll go to my bake, and it's going to be the AFL.
Nice.
I'm giving the AFL a bake with the whole rights to footy games and stuff like that. On Saturday, you had the best game of the year, and you had your fan base just couldn't watch it. If you're stuck behind this paywall where you can't pay for KO, all of a sudden you can't basically afford to watch the best game of footy. Like, how are you growing the game? You talk about growing the game in northern suburbs, all that kind of stuff.
They're full of it.
Ridiculous.
Look, the only thing that talks is money.
Yeah.
And they've obviously realised that there's better TV ratings to be had Thursday night, Friday night, and Sunday arvo. A lot of people are out doing things on a Saturday night, not watching as much footy.
Yeah.
But I can't stand the fact that I obviously have KO, but I just think it's a joke.
Yeah, and like for us, like how many nights have we been out on a Saturday and you go to a bar and there's footy on the TV? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not everybody can do that now.
Yeah,
which is a bit sad. And the other thing is Showdown's next week as well on Saturday night. So all of a sudden you get a whole bunch of fans who probably don't have access to watching it. So
that's only on Foxtel, is it? Are you sure it's not on 7?
So all the Saturday games.
So 7 don't have a single Saturday for the year.
Besides the grand final. Is it for the year or does it stop after a certain round?
No, I think it's for the year.
Is it? Okay.
But honestly, the AFL have shown over and over and over they do not care about the fans.
Yeah. They say they do, but they do not.
All right, so my shake that I came up with was actually Max Gorn. But I wanted to specifically look at one quarter of football rather than the whole game. His third quarter is the greatest quarter of football any ruckman's ever played.
Yeah.
It's I forgot to even write down the hit out numbers. Who cares about that? 14 disposals, 10 contested disposals in a quarter.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
Did he have 35 for the game as well,
Yes.
I think? Yeah.
But 14, 10 contested, 4 marks, 4 clearances in one quarter of football.
Yeah. Look,
That Matthew Flynn, he's lost confidence for the rest of his life.
I was actually watching that. I was just like, put like some body on him. Do something.
No.
Do something. Like,
And do you
it was
reckon-
so infuriating. Like, and then you see him like leading up for a mark and stuff. You see Flynn just from like 3 steps behind. I was like, come on, man. Like, do something.
Do you think that Gawn took it personally when we started when we started saying that Zeri had gone past him?
I never did say that. Just putting it out
The
there.
thing is, the reason why we said that was straight off the back of North beating Demons, and Zeri killed him that day. But then afterwards, Goody was saying that Gawn had some personal things, so we might cut him a little bit of slack there.
Yeah. But he's in line for another All-Australian, I reckon. Do you not, guys?
Did we not say that it was definitely going to be Zeri?
Hey, look, he's going to get it, and he has to be the best modern-day ruckman.
Mate, Mick, surely you
Mick
agree,
Mick.
can't keep saying Dean Cox.
Oh, well, no, Gawn is a gun. I'm not going to say that, but because I've just grown up loving Dean Cox and everything.
But if you had to be impartial, you had to pick one to play out their careers at a club.
Go on.
Who are you
like
picking?
at their prime? Like
So like their whole, so you're getting them for their whole career, and you got to pick one
I'm
from.
picking Cox every time.
Cox actually had a longer career because Gawn started a bit later.
Yeah,
But Gawn's peak is unmatched, I think.
I agree.
Okay.
And also Premiership captain.
That's true.
It's hard to argue with.
Yeah.
He'll still argue
Yeah,
with it.
you'll still argue.
I'm just trying to find something to say.
All right, moving over to another fan favorite segment. Can it work?
The fans have had enough of this.
The fans being
Did you notice that the subscriptions just stopped as soon as Padge brought the
So Can It Work is a segment where we try and incorporate, other rules from other places, TV shows, other games, other
It
sports.
was meant to be sports, and then Jamie brought the voice.
Look, I try to be creative with it. Look, I don't know how interesting this one is, but I'm not a big fan of cricket myself.
Okay.
Being Sri Lankan, you're not a fan of
I'm not a big shock, but I'm throwing it to more backyard cricket.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? And you guys know the old rule, the one hand, one bounce.
Yes.
So I think we should incorporate that into just in the forward 50s.
Oh, God.
How does it work? Explain it to me.
What do you mean? Okay, so if the ball bounces once in the forward 50,
And
you're
you
able to,
you mark it with one
so
hand.
it's got to be hand to shoulder, so you can't use any body. But if you clean grab it,
What if you tap it to yourself like that? Does that count?
Yeah, I think it would count. Yeah, no, because it's got to be. Yeah, it would for footy, just because it's a big ball.
Yeah.
And that counts as a mark.
No.
But think of Stephen Milne, the bounce in the grand final. If there was a one hand, one bounce rule, he would have made a better effort to get the ball.
I'm sorry, Jamie, but I hate it.
Come on, it has some there's some theatrics to it. Like all of a sudden you got players reading the ball a little bit different.
Can I bring something to the table for this that I've just thought of? I don't know if I've brought this one to the table yet. I don't know what game it's based off. I think it's a brand new thing, but can it work? And this is one of my pet peeves. I think that if the umpires go to score review, every player on the field should have to stand exactly where they are and they can't move. because every single time the umpires do an unnecessary score review for a point where they're trying to tell if a guy marked it or if it was over the line of the points, all they're doing is just allowing the other team to set up behind the ball. They got 5 minutes to set up behind the ball. You should have to stand. And you know what? Blood rule as well. If a guy's going off, you got to stand where you are. Because teams are getting advantages from these situations.
It's the same thing with free kicks even. The umpire blows the whistle, everybody stops to see what the call is and then someone's played on.
Yeah.
All right, so look, Can It Work was a failure this week. I'm going to have to give the reins back to Padgy because he's a lot better at it than I am.
I don't know about that.
I'll tell you what I've been thinking of lately. So obviously, me and you follow heaps of the European football, Liverpool and all that, and there's heaps of the Champions League and stuff on at the moment. So obviously, Arsenal, they just lost to PSG in the first leg, and they're kind of blaming the fans for not, creating a really good atmosphere and everything. So Arsenal fans have been labelled as like, the Emirates, their stadium, like as the library and all that. Like really quiet.
What's the equivalent, the Arsenal fans equivalent to the AFL, do you think?
As a library, it's probably like if Freo had a home game and there was just like no atmosphere.
So what I'm asking, if each team was at their peak power, what would be the, no order, the top 5 most intimidating grounds to play at for a team? Like, which team would have the best atmosphere?
Collingwood at the MCG is
I think
up there.
I think West Coast in Perth when they're flying.
Yeah.
I think Port at Adelaide Oval.
Yeah, that's the other one I was thinking.
Collingwood.
Yeah. I still think Richmond when at the G when they're up and going.
Even I reckon
Carlton
as well.
Yeah.
But in terms of interstate teams as well, I don't think any of the Sydney or Queensland teams have it. I think it's just Adelaide as well as Port. I think Adelaide do really well at Adelaide Oval as well.
A lot of those interstate teams, like the northern suburb ones, the fan bases, I guess, just aren't big enough yet. And there's no real kind of feral to them, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah? Not like what you get with some of them.
Also, just going back to European football, because I thought you were going to go down a different path. How do you feel about teams in finals playing a home and away leg? So you play one at home and you play them away, and then you have an aggregate score.
Aggregate? Yeah. I like the idea.
It'll be hard because it'll obviously play an extra game and all that, but I'll be actually pretty sick though to have that home ground advantage.
The thing is, right, and I know Mick would feel the same. Your team wins by 10 goals. You go into the next one, you still be nervous. You'd be like, they're going to beat us by 70.
Do you think you could do something with State of Origin in that way?
Probably not.
There's probably no advantage.
No.
Yeah, no real advantage.
But I think if the AFL do start toying with, that NBA style playing to finals, with teams from 9 to 12, I think they could really play with sort of go home and away and things like that. Yeah. Just make it a bit exciting make the bye round pre-finals bye interesting.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree.
I also want them to do in the AFL what they do in the soccer as well. They have, what do they call those tifos or things? Those massive
huge. So it's like, I don't know if you've seen these, Jamie. They're like banners that go over like an entire.
They're like for the ultra fans make them and that. So they have like these massive
It literally covers
and they have
thousands of seats.
And just it's just massive slogans and like massive pictures of just say like a massive to say.
What is like all the fans holding up like a little square or something like that of a picture?
Yeah, or it's like
not a little square, but it'll just be like a banner that gets rolled the whole way down and it's over the top of all the fans.
Yeah.
Because teams have trialed little things with. Yeah. I know teams have done like a footy jumper, like a big footy jumper, and had it over the top.
Yeah.
But we're talking like an entire stand, and it has, and they like if you look at some of the games in like Poland and Germany, it's like moving. Yeah. It's like moving around the stadium and stuff. It's sick.
Oh, it's so intimidating for like a way. And they've got like flare. Like obviously we're not going to bring
flares. Let's go.
They've got like flares and stuff popping. It's mint.
Let me understand this. Is it impeding your view? Like
they only have it when the team like walks out.
Yeah, it's like
okay. So it's like an intro kind of thing.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, in the same way that Port have all their fans singing with their scarves up.
Oh, okay.
It's similar to that, but it's just way more banners, like just all the way around the stadium. Okay. But it has to be very well organised.
All right. Yeah.
Like someone's got to have it and make it. And, so.
All right. No, interesting.
I reckon I'll be mint.
Interesting thought. All right. Look, boys, as we wrap it up, I just want to run through a couple of matchups for next week. I want to hear your thoughts about it. So we'll start with the Dockers and Pies. I think it's on Thursday night.
Yeah.
Thoughts, Flinny? Are you confident heading in?
Yes, but Freo are probably due to bounce back based on the worst performance of their. I heard different media pundits saying, might have been Kingy said that it was the worst Freo performance since they first came into the competition.
Jesus. Yeah.
Well, I mean, when you consider the fact that they kicked at 3/4 time or half time, they'd kicked like 1 or 2 goals. It was just dreadful.
Yeah. And the quality of the game got roasted.
Shocking.
Basically online and throughout the media.
Yeah.
It's, to have those two teams playing on a Friday night, come on.
So Collingwood generally travel well as a rule. So I'd expect us to travel well. I think Freo's going to have to play well to beat us.
That's the thing. You don't want to. You hate playing a team that just got flogged and getting spanked in the media because you know there's the first quarter.
Yeah.
Yes, they're going to throw everything at
Whoever's got Port next week, same deal.
Yeah.
And that's the showdown.
Oh, yeah.
Good luck.
Which is my next one, the showdown.
Whose home game is it?
Oh, actually, quickly go back to Pies and Dockers.
Yeah.
You tipping the Pies?
Yeah.
Who are you tipping?
Well, last time they played out in a draw at Perth, I remember that. But I reckon Pies will be too strong this time.
Yeah. Last time, if you can remember, the umpire paid a free kick for...
they're not passing the ball back.
I think it was Sullivan handed the ball to a teammate.
Yeah.
I've been keeping a counter of the amount of times I see that happen and the umpires don't even blink. So
I think I'm going to back the Thursday night upset there. I'm going to go the Dockers.
I'm done.
All right, back to the showdown. Port versus Adelaide.
I'm just checking to see whose home game it is.
I think it's Port Adelaide off the top of my head.
Yep,
it
is.
Port Adelaide.
Well, I don't know who won last year, but I know Crows have had the wood over Port lately.
I think Adelaide won the first one, Port won the second one.
I think it was 1-1.
Yeah.
But I think before that, I think Adelaide have won the last few besides...
So Port won the last one by about 4 goals. And then Adelaide the time before by 5 goals. Adelaide won by 10 goals the other time. Adelaide before that. So, Adelaide's 3 out of 4.
I know it's both their home deck, but I feel like Adelaide playing there last week just gives them that extra comfortability kind of heading in as well.
And for whatever reason, I don't know the stats on this, but I swear it's common for the team that's not the home game to win
it. Yeah,
when it's all the opposition fans in the stadium. So
it's a bit odd.
I personally think Adelaide purely because I think they're a better side.
Yeah.
Port to me just you can't trust their form. It's just so up and down.
Sorry, you go.
No, I'm just going to say they could play playing against how they did against Sydney and beat them and Hawthorn, and then they dish up what they did against Bulldogs.
I'm going to kind of base it around how much of a flogging Port get in the media.
Yeah,
because I feel like they're good at responding. So
because they responded really well in that game where they played Hawthorn, that they were getting bashed by the media that week. So I'm with you on that, but I do think that Adelaide, like Jordan Dawson, Isaac Rankin, Josh Rochelle, they're just absolutely killing it. Yeah. They look like they're going to be hard to stop.
I still think Port's got some bigger stars in like Butters and Horn Francis and stuff.
I think bigger names, but I don't think they're better players, in my opinion. Okay. I think Butters is the best player across both sides.
I agree.
But Jordan Dawson
I
think Jordan Dawson is just as good as anyone at Port.
Last few years, I'd be like Port Adelaide have a much better list than Adelaide, and Adelaide have been always winning. But I reckon now Adelaide players
Phil
really,
Thorpe,
you think it's shifted?
They really stepped up as well.
Soligo, there's the young
and Rankin.
Rankin against who they play over the weekend?
Was it last
Carlton?
God, he looked phenomenal.
Yeah. Was it last year that Rankin got knocked out by Houston?
Houston,
was
yes.
That last
showdown? Oh, was that last year?
Yes, so that they'll be out for blood even though Houston's in Perth.
All right, and last one to wrap it up, Tigers versus Eagles at the MCG.
Go on, tell me what you said when we spoke earlier.
What did I say? That I'm going to the game?
No, you called me and you gave me a prediction.
Did I?
Yes.
Well, tell us what your prediction is. What's going to happen?
I don't remember. I didn't give you a prediction.
You told me Richmond's going to win.
Oh, yeah, they will be.
In the car, he goes, they'll beat us.
No, I can't see us. Because Richmond have been playing decent footy, and I just think I don't want to swear, but we're just no good at travelling and stuff now. We've got such a young team.
Yeah.
No McGovern. Whenever McGovern doesn't play, it's like
it's not
day and night.
It's not that bad. I think it's just Lynch up there. We've got a really a tall forward that's up there, but midfield just Harley Reid hasn't been doing much.
His numbers haven't been.
I think Richmond's midfield is underrated.
Yeah,
this year really I think it's been performing really well.
Hopper staying injury free as well.
Have you noticed that generally, and North Melbourne might be the outlier to this, but generally, if a midfield is competitive, the team's pretty competitive. Because if you can have equal number inside 50s, West Coast's Achilles heel through this bad patch has been their midfield.
Yeah,
and when you lose the midfield every week, your defenders are just getting like bombarded.
Yeah.
So I think that's been a big positive for Richmond this year. Nanks had a really solid season.
Yeah.
I think Taranto and Hopper have been really solid.
I think the real problem for me with West Coast at the moment is I feel like McQualter's really starting to feel the squeeze. And I think instead of having
Playing
that...
the kids.
Yeah, playing the kids.
He's gone.
He's gone a little bit backwards.
Mick, if next week, if Tim Kelly gets named, I'll be shocked.
Oh, even like Tim Kelly, I thought, he's going to come back. I think it's the 150th game. I was like, this is a game, like Melbourne aren't the best team. It's potentially a game we can win.
Yeah.
No Clayton Oliver.
Exactly. No Clayton Oliver. And he started off, we got like the first possession of the game. I was like, oh, he's on.
Yeah.
But he's not damaging anymore. Like, he doesn't look like he wants to be there.
I think he's lost the passion.
I think, we've seen it with so many players that if you're down by like 10%, it can be the end of your career.
Yeah.
To me, I just think Eagles need to go into this mid-season draft and pick, I think his name's Razzo from Richmond. I think he's going to be from their VFL side. There's a couple from Richmond that I think are going to be really good AFL players. But yeah, I think for next week, I think players like Tom Cole, Tim Kelly.
So Tom Cole shouldn't be playing.
There was one more I had in my head. I think Eagles need to move past them and just go with Allen. I know he's suspended, but I would persist with him. Regardless of form, I would just let him get a stint.
Gross, he needs to play more.
Gross and Clay Hall keep coming out.
Clay Hall needs to play every game for the rest of the year.
It doesn't make sense.
Elijah Hewitt's actually kicking goals and playing well now, so just keep him there.
I thought Brockman had a good game as well.
Yeah.
So the little patches of good form that we've seen from the youngsters will be what keeps them going.
And it's just annoying because I was resting everything on getting Chad Warner next year, and that's not
and he's re-signed for 2 years.
But like you say, could work well. Like I reckon. If Allen doesn't want to be there, get rid of him. Get picks for him. Get rid of Harley Reid if he doesn't want to be there.
And it works out beautifully because if you do finish off with pick 1,
you're gonna
Allen
get
going
pick 2.
compensation could be pick 2.
Eagles are going to have an absolute draft haul next year.
And then we've got all these futures and stuff from
Hawthorn.
So
you'll probably end up
getting Chad Warner in a couple of years anyway in a free agent.
I reckon at the end of next year, especially if Allen leaves, I think you'll end up with 1, 2. Eagles might even be asking the AFL for a comp. Which I think North were given one at the end of the first round for one year. So I wouldn't be surprised if West Coast were given.
But they had to trade him.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but obviously got Hawthorns, and I still think there'll be room for Eagles to trade. Maybe split one of their early picks and get a whole host of players.
I think I heard Liam Ryan's he's open for a trade as well, and I reckon he's got still good capital.
Yeah, I think
there's also a couple of really quality Perth kids for the next year's draft. So think it's going to start heading in the right direction.
And with that Hawthorn pick, I know Darcy Cameron's potentially interested in heading over.
Yeah.
Is he under contract or is he out?
No, he's out.
He's out. Well, there'll be a great pickup as well for you guys if possible.
Yeah.
But that wraps up the show. Big thank you to the boys as always. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time.
See you guys.
See ya.